Alright everybody, back here for a quick update. I got the replacement WOW sound decoder for my 280. That came yesterday or 2 days ago. I got it installed and I have it set up pretty much. I'll show you what's going on with that here. So let me pull it up here. I have it already set up and everything. So you can see it's got the Keep Alive working, it runs nice and smooth. So I'll stop it here. So now, one thing you might notice is that none of the lights that were in it before are in it now. And that's because I had the cab light installed, and you probably saw I had it just wired to track power, and it was working fine. And then I went to the train show last weekend and I found some LEDs and I put an LED in the headlight, and I also wired that up to track power, and those were working fine. But then the 280, when I was running it earlier, it actually ended up just the front truck popped off on one of the switches here, and it shorted out, which will usually shut down the system so the decoders don't short out. But I think since I had the LEDs wired directly to track power, the short blew them out. So I kind of realized that wiring it straight to track power wasn't going to work entirely. So I just ended up taking the lights out because it's really frustrating me, and I just have it now where it's just sound and motor, and honestly at this point I'm fine with that. So I mean, no lights, but it doesn't really take away from the fact that it's a nice locomotive that much. You know, I still have all the sounds and everything, and it still sounds good, it runs great and everything. So I mean, I'm fine with having no lights. So let me just show you the LEDs I got at the train show. I found these 3mm warm white ones. They look nice, and I had one installed in it, and it was working along with the cab light. But as soon as I encountered a short with the track power, I think it just blew the lights out, since they were just directly to track power and just absorbed the short. So yep, I'm gonna just make it have no lights. So at this point the install's done, and with no light wires or anything, it fit really nicely in here. And I'm thinking that's the only way it's truly going to work nicely. So I have the decoder in here, and the Keep Alive, and the speaker, and the tender. You might be able to see the wires going in between there. You can see them, just, you know, there they are. So there's 4 wires. I got two 2-pin plugs. And what I do to hide the wires is I plug them in, and I widen the slot in the tender, and I just put the plugs in the tender so you can't even see them. All you can see is the wires. It makes it nice and neat. It's neater than I did the M1. I think this turned out better. And then the other thing I noticed is the 280. It runs really smoothly. Although the thing I noticed is when you have it running, the chuff volume on it is really low. So what happens is you get good chuff volume when you rapidly increase the throttle. So I'll demonstrate. So if I put it in reverse and I increase the throttle, you can hear the chuff is really loud. But then as you hear it, as it gets up to speed, the chuff fades away to practically nothing. I tried a few things. Let me stop it. So what happens is, as the locomotive is increasing speed, the chuff is really nice, like where I would like it to be as normal running. But as soon as it gets up to speed, the chuff fades away to virtually nothing, and I have like no chuff sound. So I believe that is something to do with the dynamic chuff, because like the drive on this thing is really smooth, and I'm thinking that the load on the motor is so little that the chuff sensitivity for the decoder, which is how it bases the volume of the chuff and the intensity, I'm thinking it doesn't really sense much load, so it's making the chuff really quiet, as if it's just coasting. So I tried a few things. I turned the chuff volume all the way up with not much success. I turned the sensitivity down to 0, which according to the TCS programmer is supposed to make it super sensitive. That still didn't really give me much change. I tried pulling that train in the back with it, and it made it a little louder. So at this point I don't really know what to do. So I sent TCS, the tech support, I sent an email and just explained what was going on with it and how I wasn't getting good volume, and I tried a factory reset, and I tried setting a few different things that should change it, but the problem is still occurring. And I mean, it runs good. I would just like to have better chuff volume. So I mean, I'll show you it running by here. If I set it to 22, you hear it loud as it increases in speed. Still increasing speed, and then right about now it's reaching speed, and you can hear the chuff is really fading, and it gets quieter on like downhill. So I mean, this is with the volume all the way up on the chuff, and it's still not that loud, if you can hear. So that's the one thing I need to figure out. But other than that, it's working good. I'm not going to mess with it anymore, other than trying to figure out what's wrong with the chuff volume. Because I just wanted to get this thing done, because I blew out the decoder on it and had some other issues with it as far as the lights not fitting, and it was pretty frustrating. But I finally got it done, and now it's working. So once I get the chuff figured out, I think I'll be pretty happy with this locomotive. So here, I'll just run it back towards us again. I mean, so you can hear now, there's no chuff at all. Except for very faintly. So that's the issue I got going on now. Hopefully TCS will email back with some suggestions on what I can do to fix it. But for now, this is what it's looking like. So other than that, I guess this thing is pretty good. I like the wow sound, and the volume on every other sound effect is like nice. So I don't think it's an issue with the decoder. I just think that the motor in this thing is just not having much strain put on it, so the dynamic chuff can't pick up any strain to make the chuff volume variable or vary. So that's pretty much it, I guess. Here, I'll give you a few shots of it. I love this locomotive. I like the way it looks. I think the weathering turned out good, and now it's got good sound. So yeah, stay tuned for more footage of it in the future, and maybe with the chuff fix. So see you next time.